Hey guys, Tim here, Big Dog Forge. Welcome back to the shop. It's good to see you again. So this time around, we're doing part 3 of the treadle grinder rebuild. We've got a seat on it, stone on it, we've got treadles on it. We need to build some connecting rods and true the wheel up, a few other things, water can, that kind of thing. So we're going to get this finished up this time around. This will be the last video, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Okay guys, we should probably get to it. Oh, and as a side note, if you've seen the little quotes at the beginning of the videos, it's a little inspiration for a friend of mine. So if you like them, let me know. If not, we'll talk about not. We'll see you at the other end of this thing. Okay, our connecting rods to our pedals are indeed 24 inches. And all we need to do is put a little Z offset down at the bottom and at the top, and there will be no physical connectors. These will simply slot into the holes on the bearings and on the treadles as we're assembling the treadles. They're simple to build, and if they wear out or start wearing through, they can simply bend up a couple of more. And I'm doing this cold because the bends come out a lot more even. If you do it hot and you have a jig and that kind of thing, there you go. They come out okay, but I just find it easy to do cold. So they hang in the bearings up on the crank arms, and they fit in the little clip at the very bottom, a little 90-degree clip. And then you just feed the pedal onto the little Z shape. Put the connecting rod in, the pivot rod, and we're getting close. There you go. You go for a ride here. All right. Okay, we take it outside, and now we need to make this wheel nice and round. And we're going to have to take about an inch off of it all the way around. This got very dusty, very dirty, but it worked really well to get the majority of the high spots off. And the high spot was about 3/4 away around the wheel to grind down to get down to the low spot and make it round. And I worked on into the night. Let's pick this up in the morning when we can see what we're doing. Alright, next morning it is cold, frosty out, and we need to work outside, so it's going to be a little bit chilly, but we'll get through it. So we've got an old file, and we lay it across the frame, and a little bit at a time we reface the wheel and finish this up as best we can. And we'll do this every couple of days as we use it, and it'll become more and more smooth and round. It's not hurting anything that it's the way it is now, but it can always be better. A nice warm cup of coffee, and we're going to put together a drip tank for this thing. So, got a soup can, and I've got a little needle valve, a little gas needle valve. It'll work just fine to control the water. I screwed it into the bottom with a nut on the other side. Popped a couple of holes in this piece of steel, and we offset it so the can would hang over the wheel. And we've got a little piece of wood we're going to put on the inside and cover it with some silicone. It'll plug the holes so we can fill our soup can full of water and it won't drip out those holes. Alright, we get these screws good and tight so that silicone squishes up into the holes and around the screws. There we go. I also used a little of this silicone around the bottom. It's a high temperature silicone. It's what I had, but it'll work just great. There we go. Let's get this mounted on the machine. So a couple of screws into our new bearing block mount. Gonna do it. There we go. Let's fill this thing up with some water. And I put warm water in there because it's pretty cold and it's going to start freezing after long. Okay, big dog. There We'll see how this drip works. Alright, before we get too far here, we need to get the splash guard slash tool rest put back on this. And most people think this is just a fender to keep the water from splashing on you, and it is, but the top of it, if you keep it far enough away from the wheel, you can actually use it as a tool rest by laying your hand on it and bending it in towards the wheel. This one has evidence of where someone's bent it too far in, and it's actually started grinding through that a little bit, but if you're careful, that won't happen. Alright, we'll get this guy all tightened down. And this particular joint is one of the more crucial joints to the rigidity of the machine, so it's being good and tight. Alright, let's get this drip going. And we've got an old chisel that we're going to test this thing out on. Something I got at a garage sale, and the tip's all rusted up. So I actually spent some time playing with this because not a lot of people talk about these stones. And the first thing you need to understand is some of these stones have a tub underneath and they constantly run through the water. And that's not the greatest thing, because this particular type of stone is designed to keep that paste. The surface turns into an abrasive paste, which is actually helping to grind down or sharpen whatever tool you've got on the thing. And you can see the paste build up on the end of this tool. And by running through a tub of water, it tends to wash all that off. And you can see it on the corner of the chisel there. That's good stuff. You want that on the surface of the wheel. So a drip can is a lot better. Anyway, the speed that you go at with these things doesn't have to be super fast. The water, the drip, does help keep the edge of a tool cool while you're grinding on it, but it doesn't take long at a slow speed to get this thing to sharpen. Now if you're going to full on grind something down, a wheel with this grit in it is going to wear out a little more rapidly, but it's fine. And you'll notice that my water can wiggles back and forth, and that's good. We like that simply because it'll wiggle back and forth as you're pedaling, and it'll spread water across the entire surface of the stone. This thing's doing a pretty quick job. I actually spent maybe 5 minutes at this grinder working on this thing. I sped some of this footage up just because it's a little boring to watch somebody grind, I guess. I don't know. There you go. Didn't come out too badly. I'm happy with it, and I think I'm going to get a lot of good use out of this particular machine. I'm really glad I put this together. Alright, let's get this thing in the shop where it's going to live. Oh, come on, old man, you can do it. There we go. And for now, it's going to sit right here between the treadle hammer and the forge. I can get water out of the quench tank, and we may move this around later, but for now, there she is, guys. Alright guys, there you go. We have an operating treadle grinder, which is really cool, and it's going to help out the little shop a lot. I really enjoyed that build. It was a lot of fun. So it's a recycle restoration, I guess I'll call that one. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you think about it, why don't you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time right here at Big Dog Forge. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye now.